Hello everybody, and welcome back to our Realm Reborn recap, or our Final Fantasy XIV recap, as we are in the post-patch content of Realm Reborn. I also just want to say a quick thank you to everybody that has been hanging out during these streams. I have been having a blast going back through the entirety of the story, and it's just, I love this game so much, and I'm so excited to share it with everybody, so thank you so much for being there. With the Ultima weapon dealt with, the Scions have found themselves suffering from success. With Minfilia concerned with maintaining the Scions' neutrality, Alphinaud tells her they should move their headquarters from Thanalan to Mordona, as Mordona is not claimed by any neighboring nation. Minfilia is hesitant, however, as the Waking Sands have been home to the Scions for ages. But she tells him she'll consider it. Alphinaud explains the real reason is that she's holding out hope that her mother is still alive, as there have been rumors of the woman being seen around Eorzea. We manage to track her down and reunite them in a very heartwarming conversation. With her mother Flamine returned to her, Minfilia decides that it's time for the Scions to move to Mordona, at the Revenant's Toll. Urianger remains to continue study at the Waking Sands, while the rest of the Scions take up refuge at the Rising Stones. Minfilia also announces to the Scions she's ready for the Order to no longer be secret, as it was practically the worst secret ever anyways. In the midst of the move, we're tasked by Gridania to aid in the defeat of the newly summoned King Mogomog XII. We quickly dispatch him, and Papalymo remarks how he may not understand the primal summoning as well as we'd once believed, as the King of the Moogles is not technically a primal, having never been deified by the Moogles, rather just a myth, yet their fervent wishing along with the crystals had been enough to summon him. We return to the Waking Sands and speak with Minfilia. She asks us to deliver her journal to Urianger, and as we do so, she's visited by an Ascian in white. He makes it known that La Habrea yet lives. We also learn that the Ascians can remain hidden to the average person should they choose, only able to be seen through the echo. A power that, should we master it, he implies would make us of one mind with the Ascians. He attempts to leave, and as Minfilia attempts to stop him, he retaliates, striking Aether through her chest. The light of Hydaelyn keeps it from being a fatal blow. Minfilia asks Urianger to contact the students of Baldesion to find out anything in their archives of an Ascian robed in white. We chase down the Ascian himself, and he tells us Hydaelyn's light is fading, and introduces himself as Elidibus before departing. The Scions get settled at the Rising Stones and have a short meeting reinstating their neutrality, and Urianger tells Minfilia that the students of Baldesion cannot be reached. Minfilia realizes that the Ascians could have infiltrated their island entirely unnoticed, and she says they'll keep trying, but to assume the worst. We're briefly shown Elidibus being met with scrutiny by his fellow Ascian Nabrialis, who questions his involvement. We're called back to the Waking Sands as Domans arrive, seeking refuge from the Garlean Empire. They attempt to meet with Nanamo to discuss acquiring Sanctuary, but are turned away. Alphinaud speaks with Yugiti, the woman in charge, and he offers to hear her out. She explains Doma is gone, completely razed to the ground as an example. There had been a war of succession in the Garlean Empire, and the people of Doma attempted to take advantage of it to try and take back their home. Unfortunately, they were annihilated. Alphinaud manages to get Yugiti a meeting with all the leaders of Ul'dah, and here we are introduced to the members of the Syndicate. Teleji Adeleji and Lolorito Nanarito are our most significant figures here. Teleji agrees to let them stay, but Lolorito disagrees, as does the rest of the Syndicate, as they already have many refugees that they struggle to deal with now. The meeting unfortunately ends with the Domans being denied. All is not lost, however, as Alphinaud manages to get them refuge within Mordona, helping with its construction. As we are assisting with sorting out the Domans' move to Mordona, we discover that a rash of thefts in Thanalan are actually the doing of the Serpent Reavers, a crew of pirates from Limsa. The Sahagin are attempting to summon Leviathan, their elder having been promised eternal life in exchange for the summoning. The emissary had promised him, or so he claims, and we can only assume it's Elidibus he's referring to. We assist the Maelstrom in attempting to stop the Sahagin, but we are unsuccessful as the Elder cannot be killed. Every time he's struck down, his ethereal form moves and takes over the nearest Sahagin. Though he does realize he's been lied to as his Aether is absorbed by the Primal. Leviathan then heads out to sea, and Merylweb mentions that its intention must be to cause a cataclysmic tidal wave. And that is where we left off, and where we will be heading to next is to try and find a way to defeat Leviathan out on the open sea. Anywho, as always, thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all this Saturday. Please take care. See you next time. Bye!